Welcome everybody to Pick and Roll live on the Board NBA Twitter and YouTube account. This is the betting show powered by the Hammer Betting Network, and we're going to give you some NBA discussion and of course finish with the best bets segment. And we are here today again with PipsNBA, and this is a day where he came in and he wanted to talk about his Houston Rockets because they weren't expected to be good. They're expected to be one of the worst teams in the NBA for sure. They might be even worse than advertised, though. Pips, why don't you just get us going with what you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, I'm just like my rambling about my team being god awful. Yeah, they just yeah. I said earlier on this show, I would like be okay with them losing 70 games in this season if they will just compete and play good basketball. And yeah, but it's terrible. I'm not. I think Silas is the worst coach in the league. Like that's my take, and I'll stand by it. I mean, he's a good guy. He is well connected with the guys, and yeah, but his decision making, rotation, like stuff. I'll just say just something interesting. Like Jalen Green over the last 6 games, so has 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists on average, with 67% true shooting. Like that's amazing. And
Yep.
then you get in the game in the 4 quarters, and there is not a single set play for him. He's like standing in the corner like PJ Tucker, and he scored 30 points over the first 3 quarters. Like nothing makes sense. Terry Easton is one of my favorite rookies in the league. He's playing like
Me
10
too.
minutes, 15 minutes a game, and he's always like the best player when he gets in. And he's playing his minutes to the like Garrison Matthews, Boban Marjanovic, and like players who will be out of the league next season. Like that doesn't make any sense. And yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm not happy with the current situation. And yeah,
I've liked Eason. Every time I've seen him play, he's been like pretty impressive. I've kind of wondered. I guess now it's great to get a Rockets fan perspective, but I've kind of wondered like maybe why he's not getting as much playtime. But he's looked good, and we'll see if his minutes improve. At what point does the performance of the team go to the coach rather than obviously it's not a good roster, but at what point does it become more about the coach not getting anything out of this unit whatsoever?
yeah, I'm watching the game and I'm looking at his post game, what he talks about, and when
The
he's
press
answering the
conference.
questions. Yeah, we actually have good reporters who are actually asking legit questions,
Hmm.
and I don't like his answers at all. Like there were a question about why we don't involve more Jabari Smith. Like he's like the third pick. I mean, you need to run something for him, like pick and pop. Like that's a simple way to get him involved. And he said, but they can switch, and that's it. Like that's the reason they don't like any place for him. And
Well, even if
yeah,
they
I just
switch, you're moving around the defense. You're creating mismatches
yeah
like that. That
yeah.
would arguably be a good thing that they're switching. I don't know.
Especially when you have like APJ and Jalen Green isolation scorers, like great, they can kill every mismatch. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't like anything he's doing. And like Terry Easton, like hustles, played good defense, and shoots the ball well, get offensive rebounds. Like he's doing everything, and he can get the more minutes. Like why? Yeah,
Yeah.
and playing Boban
Completely.
Marjanovic
Oh
over
man.
like Usman Garuba, who is like the big hustle energy guy which I love. And yeah, he's get 10 minutes and Boban will get 8 minutes instead. Garuba getting like 20 minutes or 18 minutes again. Yeah,
Yeah.
just frustrating.
Definitely some issues there fundamentally with the roster. Jabari Smith as well, third pick, not playing at his best. He's much better when he has a good team that he can kind of play off ball to, but he's not really getting any opportunities there because, I mean, there's not a ton going well for the Rockets. And on ball, like you said, maybe just not getting those opportunities. So we'll quickly touch on two other teams in the West. So Houston, I guess, we're supposed to be bad. So not this bad, but two teams that were not supposed to be bad really in any way whatsoever. are the Warriors and the Timberwolves. So we'll start with the Golden State Warriors. We'll take like a minute and a half on each of these, but time to panic, or should we trust the process with these teams? Golden State, what's your take?
For Golden State, like I think the best thing for them is to move some of the younger guys and get some better piece. Like, could they compete and get to the playoff with this team? Yes, I think they can make the playoffs still. Like they'll get better, but could they be a contender with this team? I don't think so. I'm not. I'm not there, and there is no like you mentioned. Wiseman is sent to the G League, like, and he is a good prospect. He just he's a decent. He's not that bad player. Like he has some perks, and on the other team he could, like, when the team is built around him, and he
Yeah.
could be actually a good player. But he's just not for this warrior system, and you could get a good piece back for him, or Moses Moody, and I don't know. But waiting for these guys and when Steph is playing like the best season of his career at 34, that doesn't make any sense to me. Even though
Yeah.
they are started to do better and won 3 of the last 4, but yeah.
Yeah, they're 6-8, I believe. Wiseman got sent down to the G League. I agree. There's a better spot for him. It's clear he doesn't work with this Warriors team every time he's ever got an opportunity with them. I don't put that as much on him. I think it's just not. You need more immediate pieces for sure, but you also want to prepare to have these guys step up and maybe create a new team going forward. But it just depends what the priorities are for that team 100%. But let's move into the Timberwolves, touch on them quickly. The Timberwolves have, oh boy, they have been really bad this season. And I think your opinion on this team is going to be different. Where is it continuing to go wrong for the T-Wolves?
I actually don't know how they are this bad. Like, I mean, there's obviously their defense is terrible. Like,
Yes.
you go all in on a Gobert to improve your defense, and then you put him next to the Towns, and it looks terrible. And having DLO, D'Angelo Russell, also there on the floor. Like, I will actually say they will be a better team without D'Angelo Russell. If
Yeah.
they had like Jordan McLaughlin running the offense, like he's better point guard, doesn't take many terrible shots like D'Angelo does. He's in a huge shooting slump. He said, "I'm in a shooting slump," and that goes along like 40 games. Last 40 games, he's shooting like 35% from the field. Like he doesn't, he can defend, he can't shoot, but he takes terrible shots, and he's not a great playmaker, at least for now. So yeah, I think he's there. The biggest issue is D'Angelo Russell, and the second biggest issue is Towns not being capable of playing at 4. Like the last game where Garland scored 51 points, they will just go around 2 times with the ball and complete mess of the defense, and Garland getting a wide open shot. Yeah, it's like nonsense.
It's been a disaster. I kind of agree that it just seems like they're better without Russell. There was a pretty funny press conference about a week and a half ago. Anthony Edwards looked at the box score, and he's like, every starter was a negative and every bench player was a positive. You guys are doing better than us out there. And as he was saying to, it might have been McLaughlin sitting next to him, actually. But Russell's contract's a problem. They're kind of stuck with him at the moment, it seems. I can't really see them getting really much value in any sort of trade, so they'll be happy when that's off the books. But yeah, time's ticking on that team a little bit here because there's like no real positives other than the bench to go forward. Anthony Edwards looks disengaged on the floor. Karl Anthony Towns looks disengaged, and it might be more personality issues than on court issues.
One of the things why I think the bench is better, because two things. They, with the bench unit, they only have one of the two guys, like Towns, either Towns or Gobert, not them together. So either one of them and Jordan McLaughlin. So one big and Jordan McLaughlin over D'Angelo Russell, and they are doing better. And their defense, their bench actually have pretty good guys like Prince, like Jalen Novell, McLaughlin, Naz Reid. These are their team is deep. I mean, like they have 10 Kyle Anderson, slow mo. Like they have like 12
Slow
players
mo.
deep team. Someone will expect that they will be a lot better. But yeah, I think the main reason why their bench is better is because they run with one big. Like it's either Gobert or Towns. The main struggle is when they are two together on the floor.
Yep. So still lots to work out there, but we will move on here. We'll quickly recap yesterday's picks. So both picks come in the same game. Honestly, like the Trae Young one got really, really good closing line value, which is what we kind of look for with these picks. Maybe game script wise, because Giannis goes under on both of the numbers and seeing it probably game script wise, just seemed like it was a lower scoring game than expected. Is that what you saw as well?
Like Giannis played 40 minutes in the first half and 31 minutes in the overall. I mean, I expected him to play 35 minutes without Drew Holiday, and
Yep.
he played poorly. He should have he missed like 8 to 9 free throws, and yeah, just not a great game from Giannis. And Bucks are actually not looking great so far. Like last couple of games, they're really struggling, but main guys are out, so we'll see how does it look when they get back. And Trae Young wasn't playing a pick and roll. He was staying in the corner and like letting DeJounte Murray and DeAndre Hunter running the pick and roll because they were up 15 almost the entire game, and
Yeah.
Trae Young just trying to build chemistry and other guys involved. Whenever he was involved in the pick and roll, he was wide open, like I said, but didn't force anything. And yeah, that's the main reason he stayed under. And the game was a bit slower because Bucks offense was stagnant, and they will like take 24 seconds on every possession to get a shot up. Giannis was like I said, poor, and yeah, didn't work out.
Unfortunate, but let's get these coins back 100%. We're going to move into the official plays for today. Not a loaded slate by any means, but potentially still some value here with a couple of same game parlays. First one, we are going to the New York Knicks, who are facing off against the Utah Jazz. Utah definitely cooled off a little bit from that hot start, still up there in the West, but with the same game parlay, including Markkanen, who's looked amazing so far this season, and Brunson, who had a little bit of trouble in the last week or so. I think there was a fourth quarter where he got benched to close out a game, but we're going to those two. Let's see the play.
So our single parlay for this game is Brunson over 16.5 points and Markkanen over 15.5 points, which is minus 110 at DraftKings and BetMGM. So I'll just start with Markkanen. I mean, we all saw the game. Knicks playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like their defense is non-existent. They are allowing a ton of wide open shots from the mid-range, from the threes, especially at the top of the key. And I think Markkanen will have like at least 5 wide open threes in this game, and the rest of the stuff will just come together, come along as the game. Because, yeah, I think every starter of Oklahoma City Thunder went over their line, and that was pretty easily. Knicks are, I think, third. They are allowing third most points on the wings, and Markkanen is playing 3 and 4,
boy.
like small forward and power forward, and some minutes even at the center. So yeah, I think this is a great spot for Markkanen. He covered this line like almost in every game so far this season. He's a very consistent player. He didn't score under 14 points in any games, like 15 straight games with 14 plus points. And yeah, I think without Mitchell Robinson, yeah, the pace is high, the defense is not great, and Markkanen is the best player current so far this season on this roster of Utah. And yeah, I think Utah will actually win this game. And the second part of this bet is Jalen Brunson. So the interesting thing about the Utah Jazz, they are playing like they are just playing drop coverage on the pick and roll, and they are the top 8 defense against the shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. Like they are not getting it, and they are the best spot up defense in the league, entire league, because they are staying on their guys and they allow point guards to just play pick and roll and shoot over the big guys like Markkanen and players
Mhm.
like that. And I think this will game be like the best for Brunson. He has a great mid range game, floater game, drives, getting to the foul line, and he was benched against the Oklahoma City Thunder, but he still covered this line in 24 minutes only. And over the last 6 games, he scored over this line in 5 or 6 out of the last 7.
Mhm.
The only game he stayed under this line was the huge blowout against the Nets, where he scored 14 points in a blowout. So he played less minutes, and he was like 4 of 15 on the floor and scored 14 points. So he was close covering it even in a blowout. So yeah, with this matchup, I think this is a great spot for both of these guys.
So Markkinen continuing to do his thing. Brunson, I wouldn't necessarily say it's an underrated part of his game anymore, but is one of the very best point guards at finishing at the rim, especially when you look at his size. So taking advantage of that Utah Jazz interior defense today. That is the first same game parlay. But moving into the second one, we are going to the Brooklyn Nets, who a little bit of crisis in terms of the personnel, of course, but maybe slightly getting on track on court. And the Sacramento Kings are the hosts here. And the Kings, all of a sudden, looking pretty good. They are 500, and Kings fans will more than take that. But the same game parlay, a bit of a loaded one. Here it is.
Yeah. So the second parlay is Kevin Durant over 24.5 points. And then we add Sabonis over 13.5 points and over 9.5 rebounds, which is plus 100 at BetMGM. So this one is pretty simple for me. Kevin Durant scored 26 plus points in every game so far this season. He covered this line pretty easily, and now he's getting like one of the best matchups. Kings are like top 5 offensive teams, but they are still the bottom 5 at the defensive end. And with their pace, KD should be able to cover this pretty easily, especially considering they don't have any great wing defensive guys there, and with Sabonis in drop coverage, KD should just
Yeah.
yeah, he is pretty consistent of this line.
The,
He scored like 26 to 30 points in 90% of the games. So I love this spot for him. And the other part is Sabonis. So Brooklyn Nets are playing the switching defense, and that allowed a lot in on a lot of pick and roll possessions. A small guy will switch on the Sabonis, and he'll then have like a mismatch. Or if the other guy shoots, he'll have smaller guy on him close to the rim and
mhm.
pretty easily getting offensive rebounds. So yeah, that's a great spot. We also actually seen Anthony Davis the last game against the Nets. He had 38 points and 18 rebounds, and all the points were scored in the paint. So with Sabonis being very dominant, maybe even more dominant physically than Davis looked this season, and with injuries, and we had even Ivica Zubac scoring 16 points and 15 rebounds. So this looks pretty good spot for the Domas, who actually scored 19 plus points in 6 straight games, and he covered both of these lines in 5 out of the last 6. The only game he stayed under was rebounds against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they are allowing the least rebounds to. They are the best rebounding team in the league, so that makes sense also.
Yeah, Durant, I see the handicap. Any sort of held defense coming from Sabonis might be a little late. Durant can shoot over in mid range. It's his bread and butter. And on the offensive end for Sabonis, like if he's down in the paint against Claxton's a fine player, but size wise, Sabonis can dominate there, has dominated players like that in the
I
past.
think
And the
I
rebounding of the
think it's
switches, as you mentioned.
25. Yeah, I think the 25 pounds lighter than Sabonis. Clarkson. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And Sabonis will
Okay.
use his size to his advantage, I think, in that matchup. So let's recap
Yeah.
the plays here for you guys. We got two same game parlays as mentioned. First one in the Knicks Jazz game, we have Jalen Brunson over 16.5 points, along with Larry Markkinen over 15.5 points. You can get that at -110 at DraftKings or at BetMGM. Second play on the board, we have the Brooklyn Nets visiting the Sacramento Kings. Kevin Durant over 24.5 points. Domantas Sabonis over 13.5 points and 9.5 rebounds. That is +100 at BetMGM. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning into Pick and Roll. You can watch this show live at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time every weekday, Monday through Friday, for a show just like this every single time. And to go further on, you can catch this on Twitter or YouTube on the Board NBA's accounts. And the Board NBA is part of the Hammer Betting Network. Go to thehammer.bet for more sports betting content. Also, if you can't catch it live, rewatch it on Twitter or YouTube, also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to everybody. We will see you tomorrow for more discussion and bets, hoping to celebrate a couple of winners here.